The letter from Yeshua's emissary Shaul, Paul, to the Messianic community in Philippi, Philippians. From Shaul and Timothy, slaves of the Messiah Yeshua, to all God's people united with the Messiah Yeshua and living in Philippi, along with the congregational leaders and the Shemashim, deacons. Grace to you and shalom from God our Father and the Lord Yeshua the Messiah. I thank my God every time I think of you. Whenever I pray for all of you, I always pray with joy, because you have shared in proclaiming the good news from the very first day until now. And I'm sure of this, that the one who began a good work in you will keep it growing until it is completed on the day of the Lord Yeshua Messiah. It is right for me to think this way about you all because I have you on my heart. For whether I am in chains or defending the establishing of the good news, you are all sharing with me in this privileged work. God can testify how I long for all of you with the deep affection of the Messiah Yeshua. And this is my prayer, that your love may more and more overflow in fullness of knowledge and depth of discernment, so that you will be able to determine what is best and thus be pure and without blame for the day of the Messiah, filled with the fruit of righteousness that comes through Yeshua the Messiah, to the glory and praise of God. Now, brothers, I want you to know that what has happened to me has helped in advancing the good news. It has become clear to the whole palace and to everyone else that it is because of the Messiah that I am in chains. Also, my being in prison has given most of the brothers in the Lord confidence, so that they have become much more bold in speaking the word God fearlessly. True, some are proclaiming the Messiah out of jealousy and rivalry, but others are doing it in goodwill. The latter act from love, aware that I am put where I am defending the good news, while the former announce the Messiah out of selfish ambition, with impure motives, supposing they can stir up trouble for me in prison. But so what? All that matters is that in every way, whether honestly or pretense, Messiah is being proclaimed, and in that I rejoice. Yes, I will continue to rejoice, for I know that this will work out for my deliverance, because of your prayers and the support I get from the Spirit of Yeshua the Messiah. It all accords with my earnest expectation and hope that I have nothing to be ashamed of, but rather, now, as always, the Messiah will be honored by my body, whether it is alive or dead. For me, life is the Messiah and death is gain. But if by living on in the body I can do fruitful work, then I don't know which to choose. I am caught in a dilemma. My desire is to go off and to be with the Messiah. That is better by far. But because of you, the greater need is to stay on in the body. Yes, I'm convinced of this. So I know if I will stay on with you in order to help you progress in the faith and have joy in it. Then, through my being with you again, you'll have even greater reason for boasting about the Messiah Yeshua. Only conduct your lives in a way worthy of the good news of the Messiah, so that whether I come and see you or I hear about you from a distance, you stand firm, united in spirit, fighting with one accord for the faith of the good news, not frightened by anything that opposition does. This will be for them an indication that they are headed for destruction and you for deliverance. And this is from God, because for the Messiah's sake, it has been granted to you not only to trust in him, but also to suffer on his behalf, to fight the same battles you once saw me fight and now hear that I am still fighting. Therefore, if you have any encouragement for me from your being in union with the Messiah, any comfort flowing from love, any fellowship with me in the Spirit, or any compassion and sympathy, Then complete my joy by having a common purpose and a common love, by being one in heart and mind. Do nothing out of rivalry or vanity, but in humility regard each other as better than yourselves. Look out for each other's interests and not just for your own. Let your attitude toward one another be governed by your being in union with the Messiah Yeshua. Though he was in the form of God, he did not regard equality with God something to be possessed by force. On the contrary, he emptied himself in that he took the form of a slave, by becoming like human beings are. When he appeared as a human being, he humbled himself still more, by becoming obedient even to death on a stake as a criminal. Therefore, God raised him to the highest place and gave him the name above every name, that in honor, the name given Yeshua, every knee will bow in heaven, on earth, and under the earth, and every tongue will acknowledge that Yeshua, the Messiah, is Adonai, to the glory of God the Father. So, my dear friends, just as you have always obeyed when I was with you, it is even more important that you obey now that I am away from you. Keep working out your deliverance with fear and trembling, for God is the one working among you both, willing and working with what pleases him. Do everything without grumbling or arguing, so that you may be blameless and pure children of God, without defect in the midst of a twisted and perverted generation, among whom you shine like stars in the sky, as you hold on to the word of life. If you do this, I will be able to boast when the day of the Messiah comes, that I did not run or toil for nothing. Indeed, even if my lifeblood is poured out as a drink offering over the sacrifice and service of your faith, I will still be glad and rejoice with you all. Likewise, you too should be glad and rejoice with me. But I hope in the Lord Yeshua to send Timothy to you shortly, so that I too may be cheered by knowing how you are doing. I have no one who compares with him, who will care so sincerely for your welfare. People all put out their own interests ahead of the Messiah Yeshua's, but you know his character, that like a child with his father, he slaved with me to advance the good news. So I hope to send him just as soon as I see how things will go with me, and I am confident in the Lord that before long I myself will come too. Also, I considered it necessary to send you Epaphroditus, my brother, fellow worker, and fellow soldier, the emissary whom you sent to take care of my needs, since he has been longing for you all and has been distressed because you heard he was ill. Indeed, he was ill, close to death, but God had mercy on him, and not only on him, but also me. Otherwise, I would have had sorrow piled on sorrow. Therefore, I am all the more eager to send him, so that you may rejoice when you see him again, and I, for my part, may be less sad. So give him a joyful welcome in the Lord. Honor such people, for he risked his life and nearly died working for the Messiah in order to give me the help you were not in a position to give. In conclusion, my brothers, rejoice in union with the Lord. It is no trouble for me to repeat what I have written before you. For you, it will be a safeguard. Beware of the dogs, those evildoers, the mutilated. For it is we who are circumcised, we who are the circumcised, we will worship by the Spirit of God and make our boast in the Messiah Yeshua. We do not put confidence in human qualifications, even though I certainly have grounds for putting confidence in such things. If anyone else thinks he has grounds for putting confidence in human qualifications, I have better grounds. Brit Mala on the 8th day, by birth belonging to the people of Israel, from the tribe of Benjamin, a Hebrew speaker with Hebrew-speaking parents. In regard to the Torah, a Perush. In regard to zeal, a persecutor of the Messianic community. In regard to the righteousness demands by legalism, blameless. But the things that used to be advantages for me, I have, because of the Messiah, come to consider a disadvantage. Not only that, but I consider everything a disadvantage in comparison with the supreme value of knowing Messiah Yeshua as my Lord. It was because of him that I gave up everything and regard it all as garbage in order to gain the Messiah and be found in union with him, not having any righteousness on my own based on legalism, but having that righteousness which comes through the Messiah's faithfulness, the righteousness from God based on trust. Yes, I gave it all up in order to know him, that is, to know the power of his resurrection and the fellowship of his sufferings as I am being conformed to his death, so that somehow I might arrive at being resurrected from the dead. It is not that I have already obtained it or already reached the goal. No, I keep pursuing it in order the hope of taking hold of that for which the Messiah Yeshua took hold of me. Brothers, I, for my part, do not think of myself of having yet gotten hold of it, but one thing I do, forgetting what is behind me and straining forward toward what lies ahead. I keep pursuing the goal in order to win the prize offered by God, upward calling in the Messiah Yeshua. Therefore, as many of us are mature, let us keep paying attention to this. If you are differently minded about anything, God will also reveal this to you. Only let your conduct fit the level we have already reached. Brothers, join in imitating me and pay attention to those who live according to the pattern we have set for you. For many, I have told you about them offer before, and even now I say it with tears. Live as enemies of the Messiah's execution state. They are headed for destruction. Their God is the belly. They are proud of what they ought to be ashamed of, since they are concerned about the things of the world. But we are citizens of heaven. It is from there that we expect to deliver the Lord Yeshua the Messiah. He will change the bodies we have in this humble state and make them like his glorious body, using the power which enables him to bring everything under his control. So, my brothers, whom I love and long for, my joy and my crown, my dear friends, keep standing firm in union with the Lord. I beg Evodia and I beg Syntyche to agree with each other in union with the Lord. I also request you, loyal Syzygus, to help these women, for they have worked hard proclaiming the good news with me, along with Clement and the rest of my fellow workers whose names are in the book of life. Rejoice in union with the Lord always. I say it again, rejoice. Let everyone see how reasonable and gentle you are. The Lord is near. Don't worry about anything. On the contrary, make your requests known to God by prayer and petition with thanksgiving. Then God's shalom, passing all understanding, will keep your hearts and minds safe in union, the Lord, with Messiah Yeshua. In conclusion, brothers, focus your thoughts on what is true, noble, righteous, pure, lovable, or admirable. On some virtue or on something heard and seen me doing, I'm praiseworthy. Keep doing what you have learned and receive from me what you have heard and seen me doing. Then the God who gives shalom will be with you. In union with the Lord, I greatly rejoice that now, after this long time, you have let your concern for me express itself again. Of course, you were concerned for me a long time, but you had no opportunity to express it. Not that I am saying this to call attention to any need of mine, since, as far as I am concerned, I have learned to be content regardless of circumstances. I know that what it is to be in want. I know what it is to have more than enough. In everything and in every way, I have learned the secret of being full and being hungry, having abundance and being in need. I can do all things through him who gives me power. Nevertheless, It was good of you to share my trouble, and you Philippians yourselves know that in the early days of my work spreading the good news, when I left Macedonia, not a single congregation shared with me in the matter of giving and receiving, only you. Indeed, in Thessalonica, when I needed it, you sent me aid twice. I'm not seeking the gift, rather I'm looking for what will increase the credit balance of your account. I have been more than paid in full. I have been filled, since I have received from Epaphroditus the gifts you sent. They are a fragrant aroma, an acceptable sacrifice, one that pleases God well. Moreover, may God will fill every need of yours according to his glorious wealth, in union with the Messiah Yeshua. And to God our Father be the glory forever and ever. Amen. Greet each of God's people in the Messiah Yeshua. The brothers with me send their greetings to you. All God's people send greetings, but especially those in the emperor's household. The grace of the Lord Yeshua the Messiah be with your spirit.